Welcome back. Former Vancouver Island news anchor Hudson Mack joining us on the show. But also, if you go back even further than that, former anchor of CFJC television. Welcome back to the show.
That's a long time ago now.
You know what? We can do the math on that. About 35 years, right?
Exactly 35 years.
That is awesome.
The fall of 1980, I started my career right here in this studio.
That is awesome. And you know what? Some of our longtime viewers would remember that. We have a picture of your book that we're going to put up, but I really would love to go back to the early 80s via video. But we're going to talk about this quickly and then get into some video. But you have had 35 years in the broadcasting industry.
I have. I started in Kamloops, and then I went to Prince George for about 3 years, which was a weird kind of a lateral move in 82. And no disrespect to Prince George, of course. And then moved to Victoria in 85 and never left. Fell in love with the place, fell in love with my wife, who worked at Czech TV with me. And then I was there for nearly 20 years until I joined what was then the new VI, where you were.
Yes.
And then as soon as I got there, you left.
Yes. No. Let's back that up.
Personally.
Well, what it really was is I left exactly one day before to come back up to Kamloops, and you started the next day. I'm pretty sure, or was it the same day?
Well, I had started at the beginning of September of 04, and there was a little bit of overlap. But
Very short.
But then you left.
And I'm sorry for that. I would have liked to have
It's too bad. We could have had some fun. It was, but I was there for almost 10 years until February of last year.
Yes.
And then left part of the company with them.
Yes. And so that's what brings us to this book, because you have had this book published chronicling the broadcasting career that you've had in BC, the majority of it in Victoria. It's a great book. I think what I can say about it, because I have read most of it, is that it's a really honest take on your experiences, but also with some fantastic humor and some great insight into some of the other people in the industry, as well as your own.
Well, thank you. You know, the thing I kind of like about it, and the feedback that I've gotten that's been positive for me, is that people go, well, is it just about the news? Is it just about, you know, this and that, and, you know, behind the scenes? If you're not involved in the media, are you going to be interested in it? It's really about my life and the pride I take in my family and my background. My dad was a broadcaster. My brother was a broadcaster, and I'm very proud of the Paddies and our family in Victoria. And, you know, I've had some loss in my life, and it's not a doom and gloom kind of a book, but it's apropos that we're in Kamloops today because it was 5 years ago today my sister died, and I write about her in the book. And the years 80 to 82 when I was here at JC, she recalled as being the happiest in some of her best memories. So it's neat that we're here today.
Indeed. If we could dial up some of that footage that we have, these video pieces taken from a larger piece from Hudson's day as the winning the President's Award for the RTDNAs. And so we just sort of encapsulated the older moments. So let's take a look at this. It's always cool to look back at old videos. It must just feel like another life ago that you were here.
Well, my goodness. I mean,
look at you.
I look at the hair.
You stud. How old are you here?
I would have been 20.
20 years old.
And that's the old studio, pretty much where we're sitting right now, the old set. And I remember I used to do, well, Morning Edition was back in the days.
Listen to your voice, it's the same.
Is warning of major layoffs in central Canada in the next several months.
New Year's. Did I say Christmas?
And this is the old control room, which is now the green room, I believe.
Is that right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about downtown Prince George.
This is when I was in Prince George, right after leaving.
It must be said that there are no quick fixes.
Leaving Kamloops to go to CKPG, and that was, you know, at the time, it seemed like kind of a strange move to make career-wise, but it was good experience. But I have so many fond memories of Kamloops, and of course I had come here after going to broadcast school in Calgary, largely because my family was in Salmon Arm at the time. So the proximity was good, but I really fell in love with this place, and we're back pretty much every summer.
That's awesome.
I love the heat.
Yeah, we do too. It's hot in the summer, but cold in the winter. One of the funny things in this book is how you chronicle when you first got to Czech, you said the best thing about Prince George is Highway 97 South.
Yeah, which was, and I felt, I was kind of sorry that I had done that because a woman who was a city councillor in Prince George happened to be in Victoria and saw it and had written me kind of a heartfelt letter that they were kind of disappointed that I did that. So I learned a lesson in that.
Yeah, you know what, you do learn lessons as you go around. But you know what, February of last year was a huge pivotal change in your life, Hudson. You haven't, from what I understand, sort of entertained anything new or signed on to anything new. But I have to ask, you know, what's next? Is it going to be back into broadcasting? Could it be a career in politics?
Well, interesting you should ask. I was approached to run in the federal election this fall on Vancouver Island and said no, listening to my gut instinct, which was that though the timing for me personally was good, the timing politically probably was not. And I think in retrospect, I was right. So I'm glad I passed on that right now, and maybe we'll see what happens in 5 years. I'm teaching at Royal Roads University right now.
Yes.
I've taught a term earlier this year, and I'm back again in January. I'm really enjoying that and helping to lead a new generation of people who, many of whom aren't really going to see the kind of career that even you and I have seen, or certainly somebody of my age. It's a different industry now, but there's still a bright future.
Good to keep your hand in it though, because I find that you learn from people who are up and coming and younger, and you learn from that new generation, the things that are changing. We have some great pictures from the book that we sort of pulled out. So these pictures, of course, going back a few.
These are the hair years. This is
the hair years.
That's actually my high school graduation year. Salmon Arm Senior High, class of '77. Look at the length of that collar.
The collar's good, and that is a rock and Firebird.
Well, now this is my brother's station. He was at CKLW in Windsor and Detroit, which was a monster radio station. This was my dad in Calgary in the early 60s and 70s. There's my brother again. He went by the name Byron McGregor, which was his air name at the Big 8 at CKLW, and took his Scottish heritage very seriously, as you can see. Speaking of seriously, that's a rather earnest-looking news anchor. That's the promo shot when I joined the new VI.
Right, right.
And this was when we were A Channel after you had left, and we did a road trip on the island. I caught a salmon in Campbell River. One of the things I'm really proud to have been able to do is be involved in various charitable organizations on
Shaving
telethons.
your head.
Alex Robertson and I at Czech shaved our heads on TV. That was really the precursor to the Tour de Rock, which I was proud to participate in 2009.
Yes, and raised a bunch of money for as well. Bill Clinton.
Well, I was honored to MC Bill Clinton's appearance in Victoria in I guess it was 06 or 07, and have had the luck to have met a number of the Queen, some presidents. That was a selfie at our daughter's graduation that just went by. She's just got her Masters of Global Business at UVic. I was an honorary lieutenant colonel for a military unit in Victoria. Jill Kropp and I had checked just a second ago, and here's a couple of guys who need no introduction. Nor do these guys, and that's the lunchbox that was a giveaway at A Channel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they promised they'd keep their dope in it for me, so I hope they've kept their word. I wandered around the White House on my own one day. I was on the board of directors of the News Directors Association and went off on my own. There's my sister, of whom I spoke, Leilani, who left us 5 years ago today. So it's neat that we have her picture up.
And all of those pictures, of course, encapsulate some of the stories that are in this book. No one has ever kept up with the picture roll as fast as you just did. Congratulations.
Well,
that was awesome. Really great to have you on. It's so hard to really, bring everything to light that is encapsulated in this book in a 6-minute segment here, Hudson. But I'm so glad that you're here today.
Susan, thank you. And we're back in town. We're making an appearance this afternoon at some bookstores. We'll be at Kohl's. But on Saturday, I hope you can join us. Patty and I will be at the Chapter store from noon till 2 Saturday. Okay. So we'll see you there.
So your people are welcome to come out and meet you, get a book signed on Saturday at Chapters from 12 until 2.
And congratulations to you on all the success in your career. I mean, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to work more closely or for a greater period of time together in Victoria, but it's great to see how well you're doing.
Thank you very much. Great to have you here, and enjoy the weather. Stay warm. It's getting a little cold out.
We drove through. I haven't driven the Coquihalla at night. We did last night, and we had fog and flurries and darkness, and my eyes aren't what they used to be.
I know. Anyways, be safe on the trip back then.
We will. Thank you.
Fantastic. Information on the screen if you would like to meet Hudson and have a book signed. Of course, you can do that on Saturday at noon. The information is on the screen. You can also follow Hudson on Twitter. We're back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.